team, our community. This is Condors Town, and this is another Energy Condors connection. Now, here's Erik Fox and Ryan Holt.
What's going on, B-Town? It's Erik Fox here from the studios of Energy 95.3 in the north side of town. Down south of the 99, once you can actually make it through all the construction, you'll find on Truxton Avenue our friend Ryan Holt from the Big Show Condors. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. How's everything over there?
Yeah, crazy busy as always, but you know what? We keep our head above the water, and head above the water kind of describes yesterday. Let's just jump right into it. Of course, yesterday we talked about last week, trade deadline time, which usually, let's be honest, has been kind of a bust for the last few years. But yesterday actually seemed to live up to the hype. 33 trades in one day, including the Oilers picking up a couple extra pieces of the puzzle. Let's talk about Brassard and Kulak coming in and what that means for the Oilers.
Yeah, it's what's the saying? Deadline spur action, right? So I always found it funny with the trade deadline. Like, it's a day, great, but you could have done something in the last, I don't know, 6 months that kind of could have changed things. But again, deadline spur action. Teams kind of realize that they're either in it or they're out of it, and that's kind of the breaking point. So we had some sellers, we had some buyers. Edmonton being a partial buyer, just because they're in a playoff spot and they're in the win now mode. So any sort of pieces they can add. Now they had salary cap issues that you can only add so much without giving up much. So they get Britt Kulak from Montreal. He's a third pair defenseman. He's a depth defenseman, but kind of fills a need that the team had kind of wanted. Gives William Lagesson, who was a big member of the Condors postseason run a couple of years ago. He goes to Montreal in the trade, gives him a fresh look at a new organization, which he had needed for some time. So I think it works out for both ends of the spectrum. And then you bring in a veteran like Derek Brassard, who's spent the last 12, 13 years on 10 different teams. And, he's been a piece that's been big in the postseason for a couple teams as well, too. So we'll see what he brings, but gives the Oilers some depth up front and, playoff experience and kind of that grittiness and, nastiness that you kind of need. And he's a proven goal scorer as well, too. And, kind of cut from the Brad Malone cloth, if you will, but just more NHL time. So some added pieces of the puzzle. But I think their biggest acquisition was the guy who scored last night, Evander Kane. You get him for, $1 million, a month ago, and he's got 13 goals in 20 games. So I think that's your biggest deadline acquisition. I just think it happened 3-4 weeks ago.
That's fair. And the other thing we're also seeing is, the team has definitely found its stride. I think I saw a graphic last night for the Oiler game saying like how the turnaround has really been since Jay went up there.
Yeah.
And we're talking the last 10, they're 6-2-2. That's definitely not a bad place to be. And they are in that third place for the Wildcard or for the division. What are you seeing as we head to the tail end of the season?
Yeah, it's going to be a sprint to the finish, but I kind of like the way the Oilers are playing. They're, I think, 12-5-2 since Jay and Dave took over up in Edmonton, and I think one of the graphics you were talking about is their 5-on-5 play. Haven't been as reliant on power play and special teams that maybe the Oilers were in the past. They were talking about it last night of how strong they've played 5-on-5, and they only limited Colorado, who's easily the best team in the league, to 16 shots at even strength. And, if you had to, tell me, to list out 2 or 3 things of a hallmark Jay Woodcroft club, that's the first thing I reach to is 5-on-5 play. You're not going to be better than the Oilers or the Condors of the past. You're just not. You're going to have to beat the team, with special teams or some other way of finding ways to get past them. So, it's a playoff team that's hitting their stride. They currently are matched up with LA in the first round. That would be an interesting first round series, but one day at a time. And I think they're in a good spot though. Vegas is kind of tailing off here a little bit, and Edmonton's surging at the right point. They got a big game against Dallas tonight, and we'll see if they can make it a very good road trip against 2 very good teams.
Well, you definitely want energy at the end of the season, and that definitely seems to be where they are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go and jump on the local end because a couple good W's coming since we talked last. A tough game against Abbotsford, but Abbotsford is in fuego right now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how the last week has been for the Condors.
Yeah, it was big. Anytime you have a 3-game week against the 2 top teams in the division in Stockton, Ontario, and you come away with 2 wins, you got to kind of feel a little fortunate with that. And, unfortunately, it couldn't turn into a 3-win week, but that's a busy stretch. 4 games, 6 nights. We had 2 travel days in there as well, too. It was not a fun week in terms of travel and games. And, you mentioned energy. There wasn't much energy left in the tank for the team on Saturday. But, no, it was a good game against Abbotsford. I don't think the team particularly played too poorly. Abbotsford's a team that's playing really well right now. We talk about Colorado, Abbotsford, Bakersfield. 3 teams are battling right now, not for 2 playoff spots, but for 2 home ice spots in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be big because it is just a best of 3 series. So if you can get all 3 games on home ice, that's pretty big moving forward. So, it's 3 teams battling for 2 spots. All 3 teams are going to make the playoffs, just a matter of when they clinch. And then, you find out the playoff seeding. So big one against Colorado tomorrow night, and then 2 against Grand Rapids Friday, Saturday. That the team's pretty much loaded for bear right now, which is, kind of a strange thing to say at this time of year, but the trade deadline really didn't affect the Condors. Nothing really changed. Will there be guys that go up here over the course of the next couple of weeks? Yeah, that will happen. And, if the Oilers make the playoffs, we'll lose some guys to, the Oilers postseason roster. But, when you get guys like Malone and Benson and Perlini and Sevier added into the mix that's already here, that's pretty formidable. Niemelainen, Broberg, unfortunately suffered a little bit of injury. It doesn't look as bad as it kind of looked on Friday. So he should be able to return in a couple of weeks, hopefully. So that's a good positive news. But, this is a strong Condors team. It's going to be a tough Pacific division. I think the Pacific is the toughest division right now in the American Hockey League, top to bottom. And, good luck getting out of it. It's no matter who you face, you're going to be in for a tough battle.
Talking about of course, the tough Pacific towards the end of the season. Tomorrow night, you mentioned Colorado. It is Energy 95.3 night, by the way. So
we're going to need some energy
out there. Yeah, you're going to get some energy. And the nice thing about it, you guys are in a homestand right now.
Yeah.
You got Colorado, and then you got Grand Rapids for a doubler coming up. What are you looking as the team prepares for those opponents?
Yeah, Colorado's a team that, they've been playing really well, and then Stockton rolled into town and beat them 10-3 on Saturday night. So, I think that's an outlier for them, and if anything, it probably ticked them off. So, they're going to be looking for a good response game tomorrow night. And it's a big one. The Condors have 3 games in hand on Colorado, so a win tomorrow would move it to 4 points, which is basically 2 games, and you still have 3 games in hand on the Eagles. So, Colorado's running out of games to play. So the Condors are kind of like that, the final pairing group in a golf tournament where, someone's already set minus 15 as the number, and you're sitting there at minus 12, but you're only on hole 10. So you have 9 holes to kind of make up. So that's where the Condors are right now. They've got some games to play here down the stretch. Colorado's going to be off for a week before the playoffs, kind of waiting to see where they go. So, it's a big one tomorrow night. If you can close the gap to 4 with 3 games in hand, that's huge. If it gets to, 8 points or 10 points with 3 games in hand, then you start looking and going, well, we might not be able to catch them. But a win tomorrow would go a long way to not only, securing home ice, but to get maybe into 3rd place in the Pacific, which would get you a little bit easier of a first round series. Not much easier, but a little bit easier.
Well, that's all going down. Of course, we got the Grand Rapids doubler coming up. It's all heading towards home ice advantage, so definitely be out there tonight or tomorrow night is Energy night. People want to go check out the game, as they should. What do they need to do?
Yeah, we've got the hat trick packs on sale now. BakersfieldCondors.com. If you haven't heard, the mandates have all been lifted and restrictions have been lifted. So it's like 2019 all over again. So it feels pretty
a distant memory. It's back.
Yeah, it's back. 2019's here. So Friday night we got $2 beer night. Saturday night's a special night. We've got Colby Cave Ute Jersey giveaway. Colby obviously passed tragically 2 years ago. Haven't been able to really do anything just because of no crowds and no fans last year, and then this year wanted to make sure we made it a special night. So his wife Emily is doing a video message on the video board for everybody on Saturday night. So it's going to be a really special night. We've got the Ute Jersey giveaway for all the kids on Saturday as well, too. So going to be a fun week, going to be a special week. And we're looking forward to it.
We'll definitely get out there tomorrow for Energy 95.3 night and this weekend as we are fighting for home ice. And Ryan, you get some rest because you get some home cooking with this
Yeah.
homestand, so enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm good. I actually went food shopping yesterday, so we're good. We're first time food shopping in a while, so it's good to be home and good to see everyone out there this week.
We'll have to see some of those meals on the gram. Once again, Ryan Holt from your Bakersfield Condors. My name is Erik Fox from Energy 95.3. This has been another edition of your Energy 95.3 Condors Connection. We'll see you next week.